You hope your town will last forever, but one day the company tells you the mine is closing. You and all your friends have to pull up stakes and start all over. That's happening now in the northern BC town of Cassiar. Reporter Wayne Williams spent the weekend in Cassiar as the town tries to come to grips with its future.
The end of another day's work at the Cassiar asbestos mine. Every shift these miners work brings them closer to their last shift. The Cassiar mine is shutting down in 6 months.
What's morale like around here?
Not too good. Not too good right now. Pretty low, actually.
Yeah. How are you going to deal with that over the next 6 months?
I don't know. It's going to be hard. It's pretty hard to, you know, give somebody incentive, and there's no incentive to give them. I don't know. We just hope that things work out, that's all.
This isn't just a story about a mine closing down. This is the story about a community that could become just another name in a guidebook on ghost towns of British Columbia. Cassiar is a company town. No mine, no town. 360 of the 1,000 people who live here work directly for the mine. Their families depend on it. And they want to stay here. And it's certainly not for the love of the asbestos they dig from the ground.
Sugar, please. Sugar. Watch the lid.
Family life at the McGill home. This may not be a typical Cassiar family. The McGills have 15 kids, 11 of them still living at home. But they are like the others in Cassiar when they talk about why they want to stay.
How can you explain this place to somebody from outside?
It would be very hard. It's a very friendly community, a safe place to raise your kids. Everybody knows everybody else's kids. Everybody watches out for everybody else. And it's just one of the few places left that are really caring. I hate to leave.
The McGills came to Cassiar 5 years ago. Jim is an accountant at the mine. 2 of their children work there as well.
People don't feel like work, and nobody knows what's going on. Every time we get off work, we hear new rumors about what's happening. One minute we're here and we work till June, the next minute we hear that there's the 3-week layoff in February and hardly any of us are going to be working. Nobody's telling us nothing.
And the kids in town are taking it as hard as their parents.
Well, when the news first hit the school that it was actually going to close down, there was lots of upset. Classes sort of ceased and everyone was talking and there was crying and everyone was sort of upset of what's going on. And it ended up we just talking about where everyone's going, and it's hard, I think, for everyone who's moving away, because there is quite a lot of people that have been together since kindergarten, actually, and they want to be together, and it's hard on everyone, I think.
People may have come to Cassiar for the jobs, but they end up staying for the lifestyle. Cassiar is a family town. It's got a very low turnover rate for a mining community, around 15%. They've got many of the services you'd only expect in a much larger community, including a brand new high school. It just opened this month. It cost $6 million to build. For the grads of '92, maybe its first and only grads.
This is a bit of a disappointment. I mean, like a lot of the kids, I've got 3, that's my son over there, and I've got, like, we've got third generation kids here, and, you know, it would be nice to see them raised here.
Uncertainty is now the way of life in Cassiar. They don't take personal checks at the grocery store anymore. Supplies are beginning to dwindle.
We can't gear for any of the seasonal stuff for the simple reason is we don't know what happens in 6 months. We're still in limbo. We have no choice whatsoever but to gear down.
Why the town is facing such hardship brings us, of course, back here to the mine. And it's the story of how the mine got into such serious financial difficulty. They've been mining asbestos here for almost 40 years, and there's still plenty left, 10 to 20 years worth. They sell every bit of it. It's used to make cement and pipes. The problem here isn't supply and demand, it's how they get it out of the earth. For most of the 40 years, Cassiar was an open pit mine, but the asbestos is too deep in the earth now, and last year they began tunnel mining. It's the cost of moving underground that's killing them, far more than engineers predicted. The mountain is shifting, the tunnels are squeezing closed, and now the creditors are squeezing the company. Cassiar Mining is now $57 million in debt, $25 million of its debt to the province alone. The mine asked the government for another $13 million loan, but Victoria says it's too risky. The mine manager, Hedley Duffield, says the engineering problems are behind them.
We've learnt how to arrest the movement before it starts. And our ground support techniques have improved over the past 12 months as we've gone through this learning experience.
We want some answers from you. We want some answers. Well, it's dragging on for too long.
The largest town meeting in Cassiar's history. Of course, the McGills are here, and they, like the entire community, want answers. For the first time, they get to meet face-to-face with a cabinet minister, Dan Miller.
This is a very difficult issue, and I want to say that the government and the company are cooperating to the utmost in trying to deal with this issue.
The McGills and the others were told they won't be abandoned entirely. The forest minister guaranteed the province will keep the mine open until July, pay their severances, mortgages, moving expenses, and job retraining. It'll cost the province at least $13 million, the amount the company wanted to invest in the mine. Most feel at least some sense of relief.
It's nice to know that you are going to get some help to get out of here.
I've made preparations to leave this town. I didn't know where I was going, but I had a place to go to stay. But now I feel I have a far better chance.
At least there's some certainty now of what's going to happen in the immediate future. It looks like we're going to have a job for the next 6 months at least, and that gives us time to make some plans.
They have made a lot of promises to help us out, to fund a lot of services for us to help us over this, and I believe we can't ask for more than they've said they'll do for us. I guess it still remains to be seen whether or not they carry out all of the promises that they've made to residents in Cassiar at this point.
God gives his people strength if we believe in his way.
And so they face their uncertain future together, not knowing where they'll be living and working beyond summer. They have only a slim hope that some private investor will take a chance and keep the mine going.
My heart has gone into this place and this town here, and it'll be very hard for me to move this time.
Wayne Williams, CBC News, Cassiar.
Asbestos mine in North BC could be out of work a lot sooner than they thought. We've just received word that the provincial government is going to court, trying to put the debt-ridden company into receivership. If the province is successful, the mine shuts down immediately. The company recently asked the provincial government for a $13 million loan to keep the mine open. However, Victoria refused. Well, the waiting and the hoping is finally over in Cassiar in northwest BC. The community destined, it appears, to become a ghost town. The asbestos mine, that's the reason the community of 1,100 people exists, stopped production this afternoon. The closing was imminent after the BC government refused to okay a $13 million bailout loan. The province has now promised to help residents relocate and maintain community services until at least this summer, and that could end up costing BC taxpayers as much as $18 million.
When it comes to economic dilemmas, it is hard to find a better example than the town of Cassiar. Over the past weeks, we've told you how the town asked the provincial government for a $13 million loan to keep its asbestos mine open, and how Victoria said no because it had already pumped too much money into the operation. Tonight, a report from a town facing almost immediate extinction. Tucked away in the northwest corner of the province, Cassiar is more than 1,100 kilometers north of Vancouver as the crow flies, a lot farther by road. Its residents are tonight trying to decide what to do. Some want to fight to save their town. Others just want to pack up and put it all behind them. But no matter what happens, life in Cassiar will never be the same.
In this community, the only certainty is it will snow again. And with 17 feet already on the ground, the all-time snow record will likely fall. And moving snow is one of the few jobs guaranteed here in a town whose workforce has been laid off. Cassiar is the last of the company-owned towns. With a few exceptions, everyone here works for the mine. Nestled in the picturesque Cassiar Range in northern BC, its mine sits on the richest concentration of asbestos in the world. But the mine, mired in financial difficulties, is shut down.
Where are you going when they turn the lights out?
I don't know.
At Cassiar's only cafe, the owner is taking a straw poll, asking former employees, are you leaving or staying? And in the middle of a normal working day, the restaurant is the busiest place in town.
But most are just going to hang out until they get a job.
Have you asked yourself the same question?
I'm not going anywhere. Not yet. There's a few of us.
I'd like to stay, but I guess we're going to go.
And where?
Don't know yet. Have to find work.
It's too late now to cry. We just move on to the next job, I guess.
The mound of tailings behind the mine stands like a monument to 38 productive years before something went wrong. There's a lot of speculation why an asbestos mine with the world's richest concentration of ore would have to shut down. One theory is the mine workers and the staff of the mine couldn't adapt to change. When the operation went from open pit mining to underground mining 2.5 years ago, all the troubles began. The open pit operation was lucrative. The ore was close to the surface and easy to extract. But when it ran out, the mining went underground. Development problems plagued the company. Production slowed. The average monthly loss last year was $118 a ton. And Cassiar mining debts climbed to $57 million. There are 350 miners out of work. Many are long-time employees, packing up their tools, looking for a new job late in life.
What went wrong? We had a lot of money gave to this company by the government, by their own people that put money into it. It wasn't looked after properly, and once you borrow money, and with the interest rates as it is, and then you waste some, everything, it's like a credit card. You ran her out and you have to pay the piper.
And there's the new secondary school that just opened last month, an investment for the future that'll close in June.
It's going to feel weird to leave, to go to a different place. Yeah, and to leave all my friends. I've been here 16 years, and it's like, wow. You know,
everybody's close, everybody's like brothers and sisters here, you know.
It cost $6.2 million, a northern school that's state-of-the-art. And ironically, the official opening is planned for next week.
Recently, we all lost our jobs. We are now faced with deciding what do we do and where do we go.
With a new school and a productive mine, these residents are trying to save their town, looking at the possibility of incorporating Cassiar, separating it from the mine.
I think one thing we should look at is trying to get out a news release, so not necessarily a news release, a list of things to potential investors that this is what this community has to offer you. You've got to come in here. You've got the capital. We have the resources, the trades, and the people to make this thing work.
99.9% of the membership out there wants this place to go. If there is a solid investor out there.
For all of us to work together to try and come to a solution if possible.
There's a vote, and the group decides to spend a month exploring every possibility to keep the town alive and find a new investor for the mine.
Most of the mines in Canada shut down because they run out of ore. And that's not our problem at all. It's managing of the people and the money. And if we can wipe out and start clean with people that want to work and want to get paid for their work, then we'll make it, for sure.
When people leave this company town, there's going to be a tremendous adjustment in the real world outside. Mortgage rates here are 6% regardless of the bank rate. Fuel costs, electricity costs are all subsidized. If you're a staff member, you live in your homes free and don't pay any of those bills. It means there's going to be changes. Residents who worked in the mine or maintained services in the town will pay more, whether they stay or have to move out.
There's people not too long here, and you would like to not to see this happen, you see. They could have many years in here.
And you included?
And me included, yeah.
At the mine, court-appointed receivers are going over the books, and a handful of miners are winding operations down. The provincial government has pledged $15 million to pay for services, training, and relocation, as hopes for saving the mine and town are running out.
Today, area MP Jim Fulton proposed a federal bill that would exempt Cassiar residents from paying taxes on any severance or relocation funds.
Virtually all the 1,000 people who live there have been served eviction notices to leave town by, appropriately enough, or ironically enough perhaps, by Canada Day. While there is a slimmer of hope, or a glimmer rather of hope, that the mine can stay open, more people are leaving town every day. So this weekend, Cassiar held a longest day of the year party to celebrate a community that is dying out. Bob Nixon reports.
How are we supposed to stay here and wait for this thing to happen? We can't. I mean, this is the reality. We will have no store. We will have no services. We will have no policing system. We will have no bank, no power. How are we supposed to stay here and wait for this thing to happen? We can't. We have nowhere to go but out.
This is BC's most northern mining town, Cassiar, near the Yukon border, sentenced to die in 3 weeks. The mine shut down in February. It was an asbestos mine. Asbestos, the mineral that can be spun into insulating cloth. That mineral built this town. The cost of getting asbestos out is what's killing it. The mine at the top of that mountain has been going for the past 40 years, and people say there's still $2 billion worth of asbestos still left up there. Now, some people say it's too expensive to bring out. Other people disagree. It's a great debate for economists and businessmen. But it's not a debate for the people who live in this town. They want another shot at the asbestos in that mountain. After 40 years, the Cassiar Mining Corporation created a mountain of tailings in the valley. Cassiar spent millions to convert the mine from an open pit to an underground operation, but then went under after it couldn't pay a $90 million debt. The province agreed to keep the town open until this month and pay for people to move out. Today, half of the 1,000 people who once lived here are gone. The hopes of the others rest with this man.
The technical merits of the property are there, and we believe that they are convinced that asbestos has a strong future.
Arthur Fisher owns Black Swan Gold, a company that is now nothing more than a penny stock on the Vancouver Stock Exchange. He says he can make a go up here.
The reason that we can succeed with the last fellow didn't was that he spent $95 million in creating the excavations underground and building up the infrastructure. Although he failed in the last little bit. So most of these expenditures are still, the benefit of these expenditures are there, so we get a free ride on the failure of the past.
We have to trim the Cassiar labor force.
Fisher tells people here he needs union concessions. He'll hire anyone still left in town, but won't honor the seniority of anyone who's gone.
And I will guarantee you a contract, Mr. Fisher. I will shake your hand today if you say to me here right now in front of everybody that the employees at Cassiar Mine will maintain recall rates, and you can have a collective agreement.
There was no handshaking this night. Fisher doesn't have union approval or the $45 million he needs to reopen the mine.
We were not in the ballpark to have recall rates.
How did you wreck it?
The next day, 2 more families, 13 people, leave town.
Very difficult, no, but what are you going to, we make decisions. That's it.
What are you going to do in Edmonton?
Well, right now, nothing yet. I got to look for a job or look for something. Yeah. It's not easy to sit home and say, I'm going to Edmonton and sit home. You got to look for something to get a food on the table somewhere.
My neighbor, she's Portuguese, and the second neighbor, she's from Italy. You know, and another from India. It's very nice people. All my neighbors very nice to me. I'm happy with everybody here. I don't like to move, but now I have to move.
Can you give me a kiss? I will see you in Edmonton, okay?
Block him in, block him in. You don't have to look back, eh? After you leave Cassiar, eh?
Is it sad to leave here?
All your friends are here?
Yeah.
And you were born here?
No.
No? But you like it here?
Yeah. Lots.
One family from Lebanon heads to Edmonton, the other from Newfoundland back home. They both missed a day people in Cassiar will remember.
Ready?
Cassiar, what remains of it, threw a big old-fashioned town party. These are people who face a future of uncertainty.
I am from Croatia, and I'm moving to Kelowna.
There are people in Cassiar from every continent on the globe.
I am from Mexico, and we are heading to Ontario, Hamilton, Ontario.
There are people in Cassiar who are from every province and territory in Canada.
Elliott Lake, and I have no idea where I'm going.
I'm from Quebec, and probably I'll go back in Quebec.
There are people who might one day say they were born in a ghost town.
From Cassiar, and I have no idea.
From Cassiar, and I'm going to Kelowna.
From Cassiar, no idea.
Cassiar, I'm going to Terrace.
And there are those who hold out hope Arthur Fisher can still save their town.
I think I'm going to do well here, so I'm going to hang in there. I'm going to stay here, I think.
Where are you from? Where are you going?
Right here, and I'm staying here.
A dying town doesn't die easily. Some people think they should give Fisher anything he wants just to keep the town going. Others say he's bluffing and will back down. The town's future might depend on who's right, and Cassiar is split right down the middle. Some best friends weren't talking to each other anymore until this party.
I don't know, I think it's a special time. Everybody is leaving. I mean, we've got till the 30th of June. It's now the 6th, so they've got 24 days. Why not make the best of what we've got now?
And on this day, Cassiar certainly did. 275 Nova Scotia lobsters cooked by Nova Scotians and expertly eaten. Where'd you learn to do that?
Where else? In Newfoundland, from her father.
Only a handful of these people have lined up work in the places across Canada where they're moving to. The mining industry is really hurting in Canada, and for many, the prospects are not good. But for 40 years, life has been very good in Cassiar, and they're going to miss it. For the CBC Evening News, I'm Bob Nixon in Cassiar, BC.